Hello, beautiful souls. I'm here today to tell you what light language sound essences are and how they benefit you. And I've made some notes, so you see me looking at my notes so I don't forget to tell you anything. So basically, it's best to start by just explaining what light language is. And light language essentially is the ancient ones. It's channeled language from the ancient ones. And some are saying that we will begin speaking light language again, that we will remember the times when we used to speak light language, and that will be the language that we use once again when speaking with each other. And I just posted a video in the woods, in the forest, offering light language to the rainforest, where I was with a friend who also brings through light language, and he and I have had conversations that way. And when you're doing that, the conscious mind is not connected. That's one of the beautiful things about light language, is that the conscious mind can't connect with it and try to fit it into a box or try to put some past programming on it. So it's received in a different way in the body. And this friend and I have had conversations using light language where it's just totally intuitive. And you can feel things. If you're sensitive, I can feel things shifting in my body when I'm using it, even though I don't know what that is. And again, that's a good thing, because the conscious mind is not trying to create something out of it that would most likely be limiting. And light language talks to our cells and restructures our cells. So in my first light language sound essences that I just created today, which is the August 12th, the last day of the 8/8 Stargate portal. So I think that's significant. It's been quite a powerful portal, this Stargate that's opened. And in the light language of love that I created today, it's actually changing anything that is limiting in our belief systems about receiving love, being loved, deserving love, and then restructuring ourselves with something that would be positive. So the light language can talk to your cells to release what no longer serves you. And as I was doing this light language sound essence today, I started yawning, and yawning is how my body releases old programming. So that was happening when I was creating this light language sound essence. And the intent was that it's for everyone, creating the old programming around lack of love, not worthy of love, worrying about what other people think of us because we don't love ourselves fully. All that old program that is very cultural for us was being released. And then once the releasing is done, the light language comes in and it implants a positive, beneficial outlook on, for example, love in this case. And what it was doing was anchoring in beautiful, deep knowing of self-love, to the point where nothing really ruffles your feathers. And it's because you know so well within yourself your own love of self that you don't rely on the approval of others, or you don't get upset about the comments of others. You just discern who you're going to have in your life based on whether they meet your frequency, but there's no judgment of what other people say and do, because it's not impacting you. And that's how it feels when you're in a place of deep love. And then I also saw the love of the divine being anchored in, so that every footstep is a gift to the earth, and every heartbeat is a gift to all of humanity. So this is what light language can do, and this is what the sound essences can do. They anchor in a new frequency, because we all know that sound is a frequency, sound is a vibration, and sound is actually the fundamental formation of life. And that's proved by cymatics. The higher the frequency of sound, the more complicated the figure that is made. Cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-C-S, if you don't know, is a way of, you can put sound on a metal plate, or put sand on a metal plate, and then put a sound frequency into that plate, and the sand actually changes form and changes structure. It's fascinating. I would invite you to do some research if you've not heard about it before. And the structures increase in complexity with the increase in sound. And it's just another way to show that sound is creation. And that's why light language sound essences can bring about a restructuring. And in the cymatics, it shows that sound actually creates sacred geometry. And in some of the structures that you see, it's actually sacred geometry. And sacred geometry also shows how sound creates form. So this is powerful to know, because really, once we know this, once I learned this, I became more aware of every word I would speak, what I would listen to. I've changed my life a lot. I just don't listen to music anymore that is destructive in the words. I don't sing songs that are saying how lonely and sad I am, because I'm not choosing that for my life. I've become very aware of how I choose my words and the sounds that I project, because my subconscious is listening with everything I say, and it's listening to everything I hear on the outside. So once we understand the impact of sound, it's an invitation to choose what you're bringing into your life. And light language sound essences can help you shift that. And so, for example, again, this essence of love, because it's the first one that I've created, is helping you release the old patterns of feeling not loved and moving into patterns of full self-love, so that you're more free in the world. You're free of the thoughts of fear of what other people think of you, and so much more. And I've been channeling light language since around 2013. My experience with sound started in the year 2000, when I received an Ascended Master reading that talked about what I had done in past lifetimes. And I used to be someone in Lemuria. I was one of the people who named the new creatures of the earth, so I used sound in that way of naming. And then in Atlantis, I was one of the high priestesses, and I brought sound and toning into a 12-meter high crystal in Atlantis. And this Ascended Master reading that I received was so profound in my connection with sound that I immediately started toning, and for 2 years I probably only missed 7 days because I was traveling and didn't want to tone in a hotel, of doing toning for myself and for the world. Every day I would go into meditation, offer toning to the world, and doing that as healing to different areas in the world. I would just rise above the earth and look down and look for any place where there was darkness, and I would go into that darkness and offer tone and offer healing to the earth. And from that evolved what I was guided to call songs of light, which is toning that I also bring through in my light language sound essences. So songs of light are like and bringing through vibration that way. And what happens when we use sound in our cellular structure is that it vibrates our cells so that our cells can release what's no longer serving us. It vibrates them out. It vibrates out the old frequency and then allows a new frequency to come in. And so it started with the songs of light back around 2003, when those started coming through. And then around 2013, that evolved for me into light language. And I didn't share it very much back then because it was very unusual. And I think for some people, it's hard to understand and can even make them a bit fearful. So I kind of kept it to myself and just used it for my own personal transformation until more recently, when we are more prepared as a society and as people to receive these higher frequency sound languages that are coming through. There are a few people who are bringing it through now. Everyone has their own unique way of bringing it through based on who we've been in our past lifetimes and what our language, I guess you could say, in those times was. But for me, it changes for who I'm working with, and it can even change with the same person depending on what they're wanting to work with. So it's also channeled, and it taps into higher sources, and it's bringing through ancient beings, and it's memories of our own souls. That's what's really important to know. This is us remembering who we were. And we all have this within us. Some of it open up to it sooner than others, but it's within us all. And so when you listen, some people don't feel anything when they listen to the light language, but it's still doing its work. It's still affecting your frequency. And we know that Dr. Emoto, back in around the year 2000, found a way to take pictures of molecules of water, and he proved that water holds our intention, and that prayer would change the structure of water and heal it, and that sound then does the same. So it's been proven that sound impacts water, and our bodies are 75% water overall. Different parts of our body hold different amounts, but overall we could say 75% water. And so when we listen to light language, and when we use these light language sound essences, especially when we add our own intention that we're receiving the full benefit of this, it's restructuring the water in our bodies. And my intention as I create the essence is that it's restructuring every cell in our body. And I know that it is. So people who are sensitive, some people can actually feel that restructuring. There's one woman I offered light language to, and she just felt like, she said she felt like she was home. And by home, she meant like wherever her source is, her source planet. She felt like she was there, and then she felt like she was becoming one with everything that was around her, the trees, the land, the earth. It just brought her into a deep, deep vibration of remembering the essence of her creation almost, and when we were first on this planet and really connected to everything. So this is what the light language is doing, whether you actually personally feel that or not. You can trust and know that as you're listening, deep restructuring is happening within your cells that are beneficial for you. Back in 2003, I first created Roshana Sound Essences, where I was toning to the water in bottles and spraying the water in our mouths. But now that I'm bringing through light language, and now that we have cell phones that we can have with us wherever we go, it's so easy to listen to the recordings. And so I decided to create the light language sound essences. And when you purchase a light language sound essence, you get 2 downloads, so you can download it to your phone and your computer and listen to it. It's recommended 3 times a day for a month. When I was doing them in water, 3 times a day, I would find after 3 days, I was starting to feel the difference that the essence brings. And it's a subtle shift in the way you see things in the world. For example, one of the ones I created was gratitude, which I will also create as a light language sound essence. And when I was taking gratitude, I feel I'm a person who's always grateful for things in my life. But when I was taking that sound essence, I would drop into these deepest states of gratitude for the smallest things. I just couldn't believe it. I was sitting in a grocery store one day. I was hungry, so I got a little snack at the grocery store, and where you sat down was a few steps up, and I was looking over the produce department, and I was just so grateful to be living in a country where I have so much access to so much food. And things like that don't just impact you all the time or drop in. So that was an example of how it can affect you. And you could just dismiss it and think, oh, look how grateful I am today. But I knew that it was because I was taking that essence of gratitude that that deep depth of gratitude was coming to me. So that's how they work. And yes, I mentioned that as you listen, it changes your cellular structure, and the more you listen, then the more you're going to hold that cellular structure within yourself. And as I know from my work with the freedom release technique that I created, that is based on the whole foundation that our beliefs are what create our reality. What we believe on the inside is what we see on the outside. And I'm going to do more videos about that, about the mirroring effect and how that plays out in our lives. And so when we become different on the inside by taking this high frequency vibration, because light language is a very high frequency language, that's why it's only coming through now. It wasn't there before. When we are listening to this and allowing ourselves then to move into this higher frequency, what is on the inside, how we are on the inside is changing. So therefore, what we see on the outside is going to change as well. That is to say that our life experience is going to change because we are holding a higher frequency within us. So therefore, we magnetize higher frequency events and experiences in our lives because we're resonating at a level of a higher frequency. We all know that this earth is a dense 3D reality, and when we're in heaven, as some people might prefer to call it, we're in a higher vibration, and that's why life is so much better there. It's the vibration that makes the difference. And so when we use these light language sound essences and listen to it and allow our bodies to receive the frequency of that vibration, then we are going to be pulling in and magnetizing to higher frequency vibrations in our life experience. So that's really how they work. And I created this video to put on my website for people who are looking at buying the light language sound essences, and decided to put it on YouTube for others to really know the value of light language and the value of really integrating it into your life so that you can fully benefit from these vibrations that are bringing you into a new way of being. So I will be putting 10 different light language sound essences, and I also create personal light language sound essences. So if there's something in particular in your life that you want to look at that's not covered with the 10 essences that I offer, then you can also request a personal light language sound essence that goes into your own vibration, matches your frequency to clear, and then place in the fulfillment of what it is you're choosing to receive in your life. So thank you for being present in this understanding of light language sound essences by Jane Warren Campbell.